好，各位央视新闻的网友，大家上午好，我是总台央视主播王岩，非常开心啊，和大家来到我们融媒体特别报道《我和我的村庄》的第4站。
Welcome to join us for the fourth station of the special program My Village and I. And today we are at Juji village of Haozhou city of Anhui province. If you watch our episodes in the past, so you may have a general understanding of our program. So we will visit the village and also we will listen to the stories from the chief secretary. And here today we have a party secretary, Mr. Zhou Hongliang, with us from the Juji village. Thank you for joining us today. So maybe we could start our tour. And I believe today is quite cold. Yes, today is colder. I think it's around the 0 Celsius degree. But it is not yet the coldest time in Juji village. So in the coldest time, so the temperature will be around -13 Celsius degree. So today we could see in the village is quite foggy and it's less visible for us. Still, I can feel it's quite fresh in the fog. It's not a smog. So on the right side, I believe this is a wheat field. What did you grow? So we are growing winter wheat. And today we could see that it's quite foggy and we see some dews on all of those wheat. So today is quite foggy and I can feel this place is pretty much like a village in the southern area, very beautiful. And it actually reminded me with some of the poems written by Tao Yuanming. When I came here, I think it's poetic. So that's why I think there are so many poems in China. That is because of the beautiful scenery in China. So actually for Bozhou, it's also a traditional, a very famous ancient town in China. And also we have very well-known figures from Haozhou city. And also we have some historic sites around Haozhou city. And also you may hear the name Huatuo, very famous doctor. And also I believe this is also the hometown to Cao Cao. And these people all come from this city. And I believe if you are a big fan of the Three Kingdoms, you must have a visit here. And also recently, we are also showing a TV program talking about the history during the Warring States. So if you are interested, please make sure that you pay a visit to the Juji village. We have just talked about the wheat, and naturally you could see for this kind of wheat, it will grow better under cold conditions. I think this variety is quite unique, so it could resist the cold. And especially if there is snow in this place, and then this wheat will grow even stronger. On the right side, if there's no fog, you could see a very large area of wheat. Very beautiful. On the left-hand side, what are these? So these are the PV power stations. In the past, this place also cultivated land. We have actually dig up a pond. We are raising some fish. Later on, we have made some renovation here, and then we built PV power stations here. And also, the PV power station will contribute to the collective economy in our village.
6万多啊！16年到19年，我们就收到60多万了。哎呦！
So actually, back in 2016, the collective economy only amounts to 60,000 RMB. But just a few years later, back in 2019, actually it's 10 times fold in the collective economy. That's a quite leaping development because of the use of the PV power station. So after you generate the power, so where did you send all of those electricity and power? The national grid will provide the power to us, and also we will serve the local residents. And 70% of those powers will actually contribute to the registered impoverished household. And also 30% will contribute to the collective economy. Well, I can see today it's very foggy, and from the far side, I could see there may be some factories here. Well, actually there were some farms where many people, they are raising poultry and also breeding fish. And soon we will hear a speech from the Chief Secretary, also a leader from Poverty Alleviation Task Force in Juji village, Ms. Liu Shuangyan. And later she will give a speech. And after she came here, he has done a lot of work to help with the poverty alleviation. And also she encouraged the villagers to raise poultry and to raise pigs and cows. So that's why we built so many farms. Well, now I can see some sheep over there. And right now, each one of the household, they started to raise sheep because they want to increase their income. For each one of the sheep, they can sell at a price of around 1,000 RMB. So you're saying that for some households, on a yearly basis, they can actually earn at least 40,000 yuan. So by raising the fish, they can raising the sheep, they can actually improve their annual income. And this year the sales is quite good. So what about the cattle? So for the cattle, for each one of them, they can sell at a price about 10,000 RMB because we invested a lot in raising the cattle. And for recent days, actually, we also raise the price for the cattle. So for each one of the cattle can raise to about 20,000 RMB. But still, more people like to raise sheep because the cost is relatively lower. I personally also raise some sheep. Except for the husbandry and the raising industry, also you could see there were so many people plant crops and plant vegetable here. So this is a local food. We call it gela. Actually, it's a kind of vegetable. We can use this kind of vegetable for cold dish. And what is this one? This is cabbage, baby cabbage. Very beautiful. And this is also very quite tasty. And also they grow some spring onions. So for the villagers, they grow these vegetables for self-sufficient purposes. And if they could not eat all of those vegetables, they will sell those vegetables to the market. So I believe in Juji village, on one hand, they focus on the poultry raising and also they are focusing on the plantation industry. So in these areas, people are growing corns. So for some of the leaves, they will process these leaves and to feed the cows and the sheep. So in the past, we actually burn all of those leaves for the corns, but now they're processing all of the leaves and to feed the cows and the sheep. So I believe in an hour time we could see some sunlight. So what is that? That is the glass noodle. This is the sweet potato noodle. So for each household, they will pick the sweet potato, and when they have spare time, they will process all of the sweet potato into glass noodles. So what are these? These are cabbages. I believe this is quite large in size. And also we grow some radish. So we want to get closer to see some of radish, the carrots. Along the way, we have been introducing some of the treasures in the field in Juji village. Because later on, we will have a lucky draw session, and we will ask some of the questions. Please pay attention to the live coverage, and if you could get the answer, and we will send out some of the gift for you. And right now you could see the road is quite wide. For our village, actually it has been awarded as the beautiful countryside at provincial level. Well, now I can see some ducks here. This is quite foggy and it's very difficult to see all the ducks. Let's take a look on the ducks around the pond. And also we can hear the barking from the dogs. Well, I really can feel the sense of a countryside. So these people, I think they're picking on the corn kernels. So the reason we have these hand-peeled kernels is because if we're using machines, some of the corn kernels will be damaged. So that's why we have all the residents, they are peeling the corn kernels by using their bare hands. How do you feel? I think today is quite cold. Are you able to do the work? I can see they're using 2 coins and trying to peel off the kernels. So I will want to have a try. So first you have to hold a stick and then you just do it this way and try to peel off the corn kernels. I think after you peel off the kernels, you're feeling very warm. So for our villagers, especially the elderly people, if they have time, they will come here to peel off the kernels. So this is the cotton. It's the cotton raised by their own. So it looks like this with the shell. So this one is not the biggest one. So each day we will try to collect some of the cotton from the shell. And also these people can use the cotton to make new coats. So how many people are working on this? So I think in the winter we can produce at least 100 kilograms. And people can use these cottons to make quilts. It's very comfortable. So what is this one? So actually, she is making a cover for the pan. So we are using some of the poles and also the sticks from the crops to produce this pot cover. So it takes about like half a day to make one of these pot cover. So because we want to sting the buns, if we use this kind of sorghum stock, and the rice and the steamed buns will be much delicious. Because in the city, you know, people are using the stainless steel to produce the cover. However, we think if we use the sorghum stock, it will be very tasty for the food that have been processed with this kind of sorghum stock. Well, I already see some of the comments. Some people and asking questions because we just saw some of the cabbages and the radish. So what did you do with all of those vegetables? So we are just using all of those vegetables to prepare a cold dish. And especially during the Spring Festival and after they pickled all of those cabbages, they will sell those cabbages in the market. And I believe it's quite cold today, and soon we will go to another place. As we think, today we are at the Juji village. I believe this will have some connection with a market. So soon we will visit the Zhuji village market and fair. See you there.
好，欢迎大家回到我们的直播段落，这里是
Right, welcome back to our live streaming. So this is a special program, My Village and I. And this is actually our fourth stop of the live streaming. And as the village is quite large, so we're actually going through the crowd and come to this village fair. The fair change a special guest here. I believe many of you are very familiar with her, and actually she is a very famous quiet show live streamer, Grandma Pan. And actually she has millions of fans. And please introduce yourself. I'm from 九个村 village. I think 200 kilometers away from the Juji village. So this time you're coming to Juji village, so you're still like feeling back home. And today many viewers are actually interacting with us. And just now, people are interacting with us with Mr. Zhu and talking about the farm fields and also the winter wheats. And today we have actually an important mission with Grandma Pan. So first I will give you the mission. So let's take a look. So please read to us. So we have to use like 12 RMB to buy 2 different things with different colors. And I believe in this red packet we have 12 RMB. So alright. So you have to pick 5 different things with 5 different colors. So I believe this one is quite good. Do you want to get one of this? So 1 yuan is very cheap. Maybe I could start with this roast pancake. This is the fresh baked roll. So any features for this kind of baked roll? It is purely handmade, and also there are some vegetables inside of this roll. Very delicious. Well, we cannot finish it because according to our assignment, we have to buy 5 things with different colors. So I believe this one probably is just in the white color. So what's next? So this one we have the red radish. So in the past I used to buy this kind of radish, and many viewers cannot recognize what is this. So this is the radish. And it is very crispy and juicy for the radish. And what about this one? So this is the cabbage, the yellow cabbage. So how do you cook this kind of cabbage? Actually, it's quite sweet when you are eating this kind of cabbage. And this is a potted vegetable. One style of the Shanghai vegetable. And for all the leaves for this cabbage, you can actually eat it for raw. So maybe we could get one of this. 2 RMB. I think it's a little bit expensive. Alright, very good bargain, 1 RMB for 1 Chinese cabbage. So I will get this one. So this baked roll is very delicious. Also we have peanut eggs, crabs. Maybe I think the crabs is too expensive. How much is it? 2 yuan per one. Well, we think it's still expensive. We have to buy all of these things within 1 RMB because we do not have much budget for that. And this is also very famous chicken. And soon we will have a Q&A session. Please pay attention to the details in the live streaming. So here we are describing this kind of chicken, and actually the meat is very tasty. And also I see some of the sweet potato, and actually we can grow this kind of sweet potato. I think this one is quite bargain. 500 gram only costs you 1 RMB. And also we have some cooked sweet potato. Maybe we can buy some of this. So maybe we could buy some of this. So right now I think we are able to finish the goal of our mission. So here we cook all of these sweet potatoes, and then we will sell these cooked potatoes to the villages. You could see some of the skins already come off. Very nice. So I fully trust the Grandma Pan because she's a very famous live streamer in food. So actually we could eat these sweet potatoes immediately. So I will pay him with only 1 RMB. And here we also have some dry sweet potato. So we have to pay the bill. Even though you are growing all of these sweet potatoes, but still we have to pay for it. So now we have vegetables and we have sweet potatoes. We already buy 3 items. And actually I almost finished my baked roll. Well, we also see some kiwi here. I believe this one is quite expensive. Because I believe in foreign countries and it is like tens of RMB. And so how about the price? 6 RMB. How much per one? I think 2 RMB per one. What about 1 yuan? Alright, maybe we can get 1 kiwi. Please help us to pick one. Can you tell us more about the kiwi fruit? Well, king of the fruit. Very nutritious. And full of vitamin C. And actually for the color and the inside is quite different for the kiwi fruit. Maybe we just buy one of it. So actually for this kind of kiwi fruit, I believe it contains 2 colors because the skin is one color and also the core is another color. The fried dough. And for all of those cereals made from villages, I think this one is quite appetizing for the deep fried dough. So how to eat this kind of dough? So you have to eat the dough together with the dry bean curd. And also I can see some of the braised egg here. Can we get 3 of them? Alright, we just want to have 1 fried dough and also 1 piece of the dry bean curd. So I think we have enough money here, so maybe we could get 2. Can you tell us how to eat this kind of dough? Well, actually you have to wrap the dough with the sheets of the bean curd. Actually we want 2. I think we still have some budget, 4 or 5 RMB. So now I would like to show you what kind of items have we bought. So we have vegetables, we have the sweet potato in red, and also the baked roll in white, the kiwi fruit, and also we have like 2 fried dough. I would like to have a bite. Very delicious. Alright, so that's the part for our market, for the fair. And soon we'll hear some of the stories of the local villages from Juji village. See you in the plaza.
从前在我家的门前有一条小河，小河里面住着几只我从小养的鹅，它们吃了睡呀睡了吃，还去想天歌，它们的日子过得多快活。就在河的对面住着美丽的小嫦娥，小嫦娥家里每天晚上都会生篝火。哎呦，我的鹅来救
Now we have a local band to perform on the stage.
秀色湖光照大地，照亮我也照亮你。宛如清风拂白云，愿得一人心。哎，你说行不行？哎呦，我的鹅，你们赶快去过河，快把我的小情歌来送给小嫦娥。良辰美景30里，路上好心情。哎呦，我的鹅，你知道我在想什么？小嫦娥到底有没有听到我的歌？花花世界匆匆过，爱情不用考虑的太多。30年后还是我家门前那条河，小河里面住着依旧是我家养的鹅。虽然河对面的小嫦娥已变成老婆婆，如今她在我家洗锅。人生人，鹅生鹅，他们都大了，左手孩子右手鹅，他们玩得多快活。他们排队去放鹅，我又看到了身上那只鹤。秀色湖光照大地，照亮我也照亮你。宛如清风拂白云，愿得一人心。哎，你说行不行？哎呦，我的鹅，你们赶快去过河，快把我的小情歌送给小嫦娥。良辰美景30里，路上你好心情。哎呦，我的鹅，你知道我在想什么？小嫦娥到底有没有听到我的歌？花花世界匆匆过，爱情不用考虑的太多，构建社会主义新生活。谢谢大家，我们是安子与小妹。谢谢安子与小妹，谢谢你们精彩的表演。
Thank you for the excellent performance. A local band, 安子 and 小妹。
咱们刚刚的歌词里头，我觉得跟咱们这个村。
So actually, by hearing your lyrics, actually echoes with the spirit of the village, and actually it reminded me of some of the natural scenery of the Juji village. It feels like this kind of song is especially tailored to the village. So for the vocal, actually they all come from Juji village. So this is the guitar player. And she is the female vocal from 安子与九妹。So it feels like this time you're coming back home. How do you feel? Can you share some of your thoughts with our countrymen? We haven't come back to this place for a long time. I think profound changes occurring in the village. And also could see the livelihood have been improved in the village. And I also see of my relatives. All the best wishes to the Juji village. So for our band, we want to wish all of you have a prosperous life and stay healthy. Thank you for the excellent performance.
我们首先是要进一段短片，是吧？好，各位我们朱集村的爷爷奶奶、叔叔阿姨啊，
Dear villagers,
大家上午好。
dear friends from Juji village, good morning. Welcome to our special program, My Village and I. This is our fourth stop in our program. And today we will introduce the Juji village to the viewers around China. And this morning, together with the Secretary Zhu, I have checked out what we have in the field, and also I have just visited to a local fair. And what will we do next? Let's take a look at the big screen.
From
this short video, you could see a lot of things, and I believe you're very familiar with some of the food here, and also you're quite familiar with the people inside of this short video. Right, welcome back to our special program, My Village and I. And today it is our fourth stop. We are at the Juji village of Juji town of Anhui province. And today we will introduce Juji village. We have just experienced the natural sceneries, and also we found some of the treasures inside of our fields. And now I would like to introduce with you some of the treasures in Juji village. And today is December the 12th, the double 12. So we will launch some of the products from the Juji village. In the past few years, actually, Juji village is a poverty-stricken village, and with all of these treasures, they're able to lift the Juji village out of poverty. So first, I would like to introduce some special guests to release the treasures and the products. So first we will welcome Mr. Guan, a local village in Juji village. And also he is taking the lead in poverty alleviation. So what do you bring? So maybe you could come up with a puzzle, and we will have our audience to have a guess. What are you bringing today? So for the treasure you are bringing, I believe all of the villagers are very familiar with it. So I'm from the cooperative from Lixing County of Juji town. So I will give you some tips. So first, I would like to talk about some features of the treasure. So it's very high-pitched and very aggressive in action. So based on your description, I think it's a tank. So please make a guess. What is it? So very strong in the body and also high-pitched. And for this treasure, it's also very aggressive. Actually, when we are touring around the village's fair, actually we already saw that treasure. Anyone? So now we are checking on the comments to see if anyone can come up with the name of the treasure. Alright, Mr. Guan, can you tell us what is the answer? What is the treasure you're bringing in today? So I'm bringing Luhua chicken here. So for the product list, you could see we also have some people holding the poster of the Luhua chicken, and also we are showing you the actual chicken. So it's free-range chicken, and it's a special project in the Juji village. So actually we are planting some vegetables. At the same time, we are also growing and raising these villages. You could see we are tying its feet because we don't want it to run away. Well, it's very tasty for this meat because it is free-range chicken. So we are feeding the chickens with wild grass. So what about the income? Very good. So actually, by having the Luhua chicken, we can lift some impoverished households out of poverty. So this is one of the treasures for Juji village, the Luhua chicken. Thank you very much for your introduction. Well, I believe it is the first time for the chicken to see so many audience and so many viewers. Alright, now I would like to invite Mr. Zhu, also a local village from Juji village, to launch the second treasure. Please hold the microphone. So I believe everyone is familiar with you. So can you give us some introduction about the treasure you are bringing? Well, indeed, it is a treasure for us. I actually write up a description about this treasure. So actually, earlier I just asked all of the representative to give up some of the keyword of the treasure. So for the height of this treasure is 2.8 meter. And this treasure have a very large flower. The height is 2.8 meters. It's very difficult to guess what is it. Actually, you are doing a lot of performance to describe this kind of treasure. And for this kind of treasure also, it is full of flowers, and the size of the flower is very big. Well, even though you will write out a full text to describe this treasure, but very few useful information. So I can get it. It is a yellow treasure. So what is your last sentence? Just tell us the third keyword. We are depending on this treasure for poverty alleviation. Everyone loves this kind of treasure. So we need a lot of people to grow this kind of treasure. Alright, I will interpret again. So this is one of the plants that we have been growing for poverty alleviation. So can you guess what is it? So Huangshuhui, this is actually a local plant, the Abelmuscus manihot. Alright, let's present the Abelmuscus manihot. So this is the picture, the painting for the Abelmuscus manihot, and this is the actual manihot. So I only hear about the sunflower. So what about this one? This is the Abelmuscus manihot, and this can also be used as a traditional Chinese medicine. So what is the function for this kind of medicine? So actually it can remove your internal heat, And also to contain the inflammation, and you use the boiled water. And also you soak this kind of manihold into the boiled water and you can make it into tea. How do you feel? Very light flavor, but I can still taste the herbal flavor. Thank you. Thank you for introduction about the apple muscus manihold. So what about the scale for the plantation? And how about the income? So in our village, we have 1,000 mu to grow the apple muscus manihold. So does it take out some of the farmland to grow crops? No. So we have different seasons to grow the apple muscus manihold. When we're growing wheat, there may be some intervals, and this is actually a agri product. And also when we are growing the apple muscus manihold, it can bring more income to the local residents. So as for the economic effect, it is even better than the peanuts and the corns. So we just divided the land into different seasons, and by different seasons we will grow different plants. And for the apple muscus manihold, and actually we could grow this kind of manihold for 2 seasons. Thank you very much for introduction about the apple muscus manihold. Alright, I will keep the drink. Now I would like to invite the 3rd villager to release the 3rd treasure. Let us welcome Mr. Zhu. So, what did you bring today? Also, you can just give out some keywords, and then we can have a guess. So you just give out some of the keywords, and we also have some online viewers. They may guess this treasure from some keywords. My name is Zhu Chunshui, actually I'm a local villager. I'm actually representing the impoverished household. Also, by taking this opportunity, I would like to greet all of you who have been coming to this special program. And today, actually, I'm bringing a treasure with me. So I will give you some keywords. Please make a guess. So if you get it right, I will give you for free. Alright, please give us some keywords, and I hope some of our viewers can get the answers right. Vegetarian, fat, and also very good in the temper and very cute. I think you're describing a girl, because when a girl in the city, they only eat vegetables. So for this treasure, and actually it eats vegetables. So alright, I will count down 3, 2, 1 so that you could give the answer. So please give us the keyword again. Fat, very cute, very good in temper. So 3, 2, 1. Alright. Well, it feels like some of the on-site audience, they have already guessed the answer. So now we would like to bring in the answer. So actually it is the sheep. Very cute. So if you're living in the city center, the only pets are only dogs and the cats, but actually if you are living in the village, you're able to raise the sheep as your pet. So just right at the beginning of our live streaming, and Mr. Zhu just told us almost every household they raise sheep. what about the income? In the past, we do not have much sheep because we don't know how to raise it in a scientific way. And if we choose the wrong feedings, and then the sheep will get sick and die eventually. And I want to emphasize that after Chief Secretary Ms. Liu Shangyan came to our village, and she gave us a lot of support in raising sheep. So right now, this kind of husbandry industry have been well developed. So for each one of the impoverished household, just by depending on raising sheep, they can earn 50,000 to 60,000 RMB per year, not to mention those large-scale households. And for some of the households, they can earn an income of like hundreds of thousands per year. And also, actually, I have bringing some of my family members. So I think we need a younger generation to raise the sheep. So my granddaughter, she is very young, but I want her to be very familiar with the sheep, and later she could raise the sheep. So maybe we would like to invite this pretty girl to sing a song. Good morning, everyone. I'm 6 years old. So I'm in the senior class in the kindergarten. So there were so many sheep in your house. So what are you going to perform? All right. So this pretty girl is about to sing a song. Thank you very much. So when Miss Zhu bring in all of the sheep, you can see our viewers, they really love this kind of sheep. So for all of these sheep, they are very quite young in their age. So this is the third treasure. Thank you very much. Now we have the last treasure to be released. So I'm not sure if the viewers can have a guess for the chicken, the sheep, and also the able muscus manihold. And now we would like to invite the fourth special guest to release the products. And actually she is Grandma Pan. Dear viewers, good morning. Dear fellow men, good morning. Actually, Grandma Pan comes from Anhui province, Liuan City, 9个住 village. I am 60 years old. My name is Pan Qicui. I believe many people are familiar with you because they watched the short video released by you. And you have been creating a lot of foodie programs describing the lives in the countryside. And I still remember in the past using an orange to steam the eggs, and also you're making ice cream with the bamboos. So you're always focusing on the lives in the countryside. So what did you bring today? So for the treasure I'm bringing today is very sweet and very crispy and golden in the appearance. Just have a guess. Once again, can you repeat the keywords? So it looks very good and small in shape, very sweet, and the color is golden and is also organic. So I believe you're also talking about potato? No. Well, I've already seen some of the audience, they have come up with the answer. So today we are bringing you the sweet potato. So this is not a regular sweet potato. It's the sweet potato grown in the local village, Juji village. Now we have a basket of sweet potatoes here. So actually we have just bought some of these mini-sized sweet potatoes here. And actually I made sweet potato chips from all of these sweet potatoes. Very crispy. So what other things have you brought today? And for these sweet potatoes you can make chips, and also you could dry all of these sweet potatoes, and also you can make glass noodles out of these sweet potatoes. And you could see all of these chips, it has been packed independently. So if going out for travel, you can bring in some bags of these sweet potato chips. So this time it's a chance for you to speak for the sweet potato chips. I'm very happy to represent Juji village and promote the sweet potato of Juji village. So thank you very much. And in the future, if you want to place an order to buy these chips, make sure that you follow the live Grandma Pan's live streaming account. Alright, this is the fourth treasure. And actually for sweet potatoes, it is also one of the key items for poverty alleviation of Juji village. And today we are introducing you with a lot of treasures. We have introducing with you about the chickens, sweet potatoes, and also the sheep. And actually all of those products have been contributed to the poverty alleviation of Juji village. So just now we have witnessing some of the natural scenery here, and also we have been understanding some of the key products of Juji village. And now we would like to talk about stories from the local villages, and also soon we will be hearing the speech from the Chief Secretary Liu Shangyan. So first, I would like to invite one of the villagers to give a speech, Mr. Ren. Good morning. So maybe first you could introduce yourself, because our viewers may not be familiar with you. So actually, I suffer from bone fracture for 3 times. So meaning that around 2000 you suffer from bone fracture for 3 times. In 2004, as my disease gets very severe, and then my household has become a registered impoverished household. And after the Chief Secretary Liu Shangyan came to our village, and she gave me 2 sheep. And with just less than 4 years, I have raised over dozens of sheep. And now my household has been lifted out of poverty. So in the past, I fought into poverty because of my illness and sickness. And right now, by raising the sheep, now I have been out of poverty. And on an annual basis, and can earn about like 20,000 RMB per year. Other than raising sheep, I also own my private business, and my life is getting better right now. So once again, and Mr. Ren mentioned the chief secretary, and later we will hear the speech from her. And also now I would like to invite a young representative, a student from a primary school. So earlier we have asked the pupils in the schools to write up some of the articles to talk about the village. So let's take a look on their essays and their articles. So they're talking about the plaza, they're talking about the rivers, the ponds around the river. They're saying there are crocodiles inside of the river. And also, they're saying some people are seeing seahorse. I believe it is all of their imagination. And also, some people are saying that in the past, the village only have muddy roads, and right now they have paved roads. And also, right now, they could see very colorful flowers in the village. So now I would like to invite one of the student representatives, Miss Li, to tell more about the village and her thoughts about the village. So please say hi to the viewers. Good morning, I'm Li Jiarui. I'm from Juji village. I'm on the fifth grade. So maybe you could share some of your stories with Zhuji village. My village and I. My hometown is in Juji village of Haozhou city of Anhui province. This village is not large in size, but we have very friendly countrymen and friends. We live a very happy life here. And we have a flourish forest, and especially in summer, it's quite cool here. We have many trees growing here. And also you see some people are trimming the trees. When we're getting closer, and truly you can feel the aroma of and the scent of the grass. And you can forget all of the stress when you're coming to our village. Now our village have very fresh air and also friendly people, but in the past we have muddy roads, and especially when there is bad weather, it's very difficult for us to walk because you may fall if you're not paying attention to the road. I used to have that experience in the past. I remember one time I got sick. I got a fever, and it's very severe, and it's above 38 Celsius degree. I feel terrible, and my family was quite stressful. And my mother carried me to the hospital. But that day we have a very heavy rain. I know my mother is very anxious, but she cannot rush in the time. And we come to the hospital in the end and saw my mother was exhausted and full of water. I cannot tell whether it is tear or just sweat. And right now we have paved road, and it's quite convenient for the transportation. And also we have grown some trees, and now our village is becoming more greener. I think the village is getting better, and also we could see some of the entertainment facilities in the village, and people go to their places to do exercise. Because of those equipments, our villagers will love to come to that place to do exercise, and they will get even healthier in the future. I believe in the future the village will get better, and of course I will love my village and love everyone in the village. And this is my story about my village and I. Thank you for your touching story. So now do you know the idea of to make the village greener? So I hope in the future we will have more cleaner roads And I wish in the future you will stay healthy. Thank you very much for your sharing. So now we have just heard some of the stories of the villages and also some young students. So now we see there were many changes in the village. I believe all of those have linked to the efforts to one specific woman. So let's please watch a video to have some basic understanding. I used to work in other cities, and after Miss Liu came here, and she gave me a sheep, and now I raise dozens of sheep, and my life is getting better. In the past, my family condition is very poor. I have gone through like 5 times of surgeries. It's very poor in my family. And now I've been working in the forest, and each month I can receive a stable income. I'm very happy. And in the past, I worked in other cities, and in these 2 years, when I come back to my hometown, I think there are a lot of changes for my hometown. And actually, I established a processing factory for the able Muscus manihop. I hope I can help other villages to be lifted out of poverty. So I used to came here a few years ago. I would like to personally participate in this place to help the village out of poverty. I want to use one word to describe Miss Liu. That is dedication. Her dedication to Juji village, her dedication to poverty alleviation. Even though she looks quite weak, but still she's very strong and determined to help us to be lifted out of the poverty. And she always encourages us if we do not have any like technologies or techniques, and she will help us to learn how to pave towards a better life. So at the beginning, we see it's a female secretary. We don't want to recognize her work, but now she uses her actions to show she is reliable. I've been come here for 6 years. I've been staying here for longer times. Now I could feel I can leave all of those villages in Juji village. Now let's give a big hand to welcome the Chief Secretary, Ms. Liu Shuangyan, to come to the stage. Now the sun has come out. I think everyone is getting warmer. Because in the morning it's quite cold. I believe very viewers and just like the audience, they're quite familiar with you, the chief secretary for Juji village. And we have here a lot of stories about you. And today we are coming to Juji village, and we will want to know more about yourself and your story. Now it's your time. Please tell us more about your story. Good morning, I'm Liu Shuangyan. Good morning, everyone. My name is Liu Shuangyan. Today, when I see all these familiar faces, I feel so touching. I have been staying in the village for 9 years, and actually Juji village is the second village I've been supporting. So until today, I have been in this village for 6 years. By taking this opportunity to all the villages in Juji village, I would like to say a big thank you to all of you. Thank you for your understanding and trust throughout the years. I also like to thank the officials in the villages. Sometimes I'm impatient. Thank you for your understanding and tolerance. Because of your joint efforts, we have gained all the achievements today. So I would like to say a big thank you to all of you. After I end my 3-year term in Lu Xiaoying village, in November 2014, I came to Juji village and become the chief secretary for Juji village. I remember when I first came here, it is in winter. When I walk around the village, I found some of the villages, they're gathering and they're chatting with each other. And one of the villagers told me, "And you came here from city, so we do not trust you. So if you can help us with the drinking water, and then we will acknowledge your work." But at that time, I think it's quite awkward. But I can feel the aspiration from the villagers for a better life. So I can feel the responsibility. So I have to turn this pressure into motivation. At that time, for the village, we have very narrow road and we do not have paved road. It is inconvenient for all of us for the commute and difficult for the children to go to school. With joint efforts with the party committee, we have started a project to build our village into a beautiful countryside, and then we have built up a network for the drinking water, the grid network. And when I'm coming to this village, I think motivation is the key for poverty alleviation. Now I think about the couple of Zhou and Feng. So for this couple, they are slightly disabled. But at that time, I would like to encourage them to develop husbandry and the raising industry. I want them to get some loans to start up the business. I visited them many times and hope they could get a loan and started to do the husbandry. They're worried about carrying debt because they think if I leave, and then all the debt will be on them. So that I contacted some of the experts and helped them with the duck raising. So by doing all of that, it can reduce the risk for the couple of Zhou. And finally, they have decided to raise ducks. And right now, they have raised like 6 farms of ducks, and each farm they can gain about like 8,000 RMB. And right now, they have been lifted out of poverty. And right now, we could see the income of the villagers has been largely improved. And right now, the Juji village has turned from an impoverished village into a beautiful countryside. In the past few days, I met one of the villagers, and she said, "I think you have lost some weight." And she's asking, maybe I'm too dedicated in my work, and I'm getting exhausted. And her words actually reminded of my mother. And before 2012, I never lived in the village, and I know the living conditions in the rural areas is quite tough. And I'm quite reluctant to stay in the village. Back in that time, my mother made a telephone and phoned me and also encouraged me. And she said, "You have to bear the responsibility to build up the village, otherwise the local villagers will blame you and they will ask that you are actually coming here to meddle around." So I think from that time I have decided to work in the village. But after I come to the village, and my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer. After getting to know her physical condition, I want to give up my work in the village. I want to go back to my home to look after my mother. However, my mother always encouraged me to stay in the village. But after a few months, my mother passed away. I still remember one time I saw an old lady with a red sweater, and she is carrying 2 bags of vegetables. Actually, when I saw her, I started to cry because she reminded me with my mother. I still remember one time when my mother called me and she said, right now it's winter, I would like to buy some vegetables and 1 large of cabbage. If you are here, then I can bring more cabbage back home. And at that time I complained my mother, so you should carry only 1 cabbage because you only live on your own. But now I started to understand my mother just wanted me to stay by her side. My father passed away at a very young age, and my mother gave me a lot of support. But I'm not able to be with her, and I still feel very regretful. I think because of my attachment to my mother, that's why I want to give more care to the elderly in Juji village. Many elderly in Juji village, they left behind villages because some of their daughters and sons are actually working in other cities, and they always call me daughter. So by looking at all of those elderlies, I can feel the warmth. So to some extent, I feel I'm actually the daughter to all the elderlies in Juji village. Now my daughter also grew up. When I first came to the village, she's only 11 years old right now. She's in the 3rd year in the college. When she was young, she asked me, why you're not the kangaroo mother? Back in that time, I did not understand what she meant. But she said, if you are the kangaroo mother, I could stay in your pocket. I could be with you anywhere you go. In the past few years, I've been staying in the village. My husband have shouldered the responsibility to take care of the family and my daughter. In 2018, once again, I have decided to stay in Juji village, and my daughter are able to get into one of the key universities in China. After she gave the offer, every one of us is very happy. After we finished a meal in the city and went back to Juji village. But just a few days later, my daughter called me and she cried fiercely. She said, Mom, Dad is not here. I do not have a dad. I just couldn't believe it. My husband died of a sudden, and he left my daughter and I. I was shocked by his pass away because I feel quite guilty if I am by his side. He will live longer. He will not end his life at the age of 45. When I think of those days and cry day and night. And my daughter told me, you have to stop doing like this. And her words reminded me that a lot of people actually need me. My daughter needs me, and the villages, they need me. I have to be tough. Now my daughter grew up, and she always tells me, please rest assured and do your work in Juji village. I can look after myself. Sometimes I'm thinking, if I finish my job and can go back home, I will spend more time with my daughter. So right now, when I think of going back home, I'm getting more, please? Because right now, I saw so many young people coming back to Juji village. So earlier you saw Zhuji, and actually he is one of the villagers working in other cities, but now he saw the changes in Juji village and he regained his confidence and returned to the Juji village. He built up the Muscus manual processing plant and helped with other villagers to lift it out of poverty. And another villager, Zhu Ming, he actually come back to Juji village and become a young leader in the Juji village. I think rural revitalization shall not depend on only one person, actually depending on the efforts of generations. For all of these young people, they will become the new task force of poverty alleviation. Now, Juji village is my second home. For myself, I think we should not only call the place we born as our home. Home is also the place when you grow up. The power of home can actually give me a lot of strength, especially for my work in my 9 years endeavor in poverty alleviation in villages. Sometimes I hesitate, but my family give me a lot of understanding and support, and also my fellow countrymen gave a lot of trust. I'm so determined to lead the Juji village to be out of poverty and also see the hope from the villagers from Juji village. No matter how difficult it is, our villagers, they are working very hard to embrace a bright future. Here, I sincerely hope Juji village will have a brighter future and all the villagers can live a happy life. This is my story about my village and I. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Liu, for her speech. So we're actually quite familiar with your story, but each time when we hear this story, especially today, we hear this story from you, we are quite touched. And during your speech, and also see some of the comments from our viewers, they all cheer up for you. And some of the viewers saying they're quite touched and also they're quite proud to have you in the Juji village. And today, on behalf of our media reporters and for the viewers, I would like to say a big thank you to you. Thanks for your hard work in the Juji village. So for your name, Shuangyan, I think it's a very good name because in some of the poems and some people are saying when the swallows and coming to a village and then the village will embrace a brighter future. As you have just said, you consider Juji village as your second hometown. I hope in the future you will be with the Juji village. So right now we will have another section, and please look at the large screen to see some of the interaction. Well, I think I'm quite familiar with this face. I believe I just bought some of the baked roll from her store. So what is she? So she is Ren Xiuping, and she is one of the richest impoverished household in Juji village. I admire her efforts, and she actually raised like 2 children, and her daughter is a doctor, and also her son is graduated from the university. And actually, Miss Ren is here with us. Please say hi to our viewers And once again, I would say your baked roll is very delicious. And I just hear some of the stories of you. And you have 2 children, one graduated from doctor, and you also have another child graduated from the university. Thank you very much. Let's look at the second picture. So what is that? So are you familiar with all of this? So this is the dance group from Juji village. We see some of the female dancers and also one man inside of the dance group. And also quite impressed by the man here. And he's not able to speak, but he really loved dancing. And I would say he is the brightest star in the dance group. And he is also with us today. Let's give him a warm applause. And he's not able to speak, but we have a sign language speaker to speak for him. He said he's very happy when he's dancing. So I believe Miss Liu also know to interpret the sign language. So we hope in the future we have more spaces for the dance group to perform. So please, take a seat. And in the past few days, during our coverage, we could see we are paying a lot of attention to the details, especially in the livelihood for the Juji village. And we have also a special character. Let's take a look. Zhu he's also a local, and he's a local hairdresser. And each time for him it takes only like 5 RMB to tidy up the hair for the local villages. So right now many people would like to go to the hair salon to get their hair cut. He's getting worried that no one will visit his hair salon to trim their hair. So welcome back to our special coverage, My Village and I. And just now we hear some of the stories of Mr. Zhu, and he's a local barber and hairdresser. And actually in Juji village we have many hairdressers. And actually they actually inherited history of Juji village. Right now we have so many hair salons. But still for some elderly people, they may not only want to get a haircut, they just want to share their beer and to pick their ears. So I think if we have some local hairdressers, and it will be more convenient for the local elderly population. And I believe the elderly generation would love these local hairdressers. And in the past few years, I understand some of the younger generation, they have been returning to Juji village. And during your speech, you also say you want to have a special task force supported by the younger generation. Earlier, I have just mentioned we have very young official in Juji village, and he's also here with us. And he used to be a soldier, and he's a very dedicated, and he wants to make some contribution to his hometown. So you used to work in cities. So after you come back to your hometown, how do you feel about your hometown?
我在外面发展是做样生意，然后通过刘书记就是。
I used to own my own business in other cities.
本村的人，然后就是有没有回家创业的意愿。
But I actually come from Juji village, and the chief secretary contacted me to ask if I want to return to my hometown. And then I come back, I work together with other villagers to develop my own business. So right now he is the most youngest official, and also he is a CPC member.
有没有什么问题想提给书记的？我们给你这个机会，好不好？So
on this special occasion, Mr. Zhu, do you have any words to say to the Chief Secretary?
在北京也是拿到他人生中很荣誉的一个奖项，就是最美公务员奖。
Miss Liu Shangyan has received the award in Beijing, the most beautiful Chief Secretary. So I would like to say a few words on behalf of the villagers.
他们的产业比较好的一方面，然后给我们朱集村就是带来很大的效益吧。谢谢。
So I believe you have so many resources. Please share all of those resources to the villagers.
其实我想说的是，我今天也是特别想告诉大家的。
So roughly understand your message. So what I want to say today, so right now I'm staying in the village. Maybe in the future I will leave village, but still I consider Juji village as my hometown. So I will use my utmost efforts to support the Juji village. I will mobilize all the resources available to support Juji village so that the Juji village can embrace a brighter future. Thank you. So actually today we're standing at a historic standpoint. Also we're at a time to complete the 14th five-year plan. So would you like to share some of your visions, especially on the 14th five-year plan? So I personally set up some goals, some plans. So I hope by next year we could expand our industries, local industries, and to consolidate our efforts in poverty alleviation so that our villagers can live a better life. And second, I hope in the future we have more young people like Zhu to come back to Juji village. Because from today's live streaming, you may see some of the changes of Juji village. We all welcome you back home to help to develop the Juji village. And third, it is actually one work I'm working on. We want to build a larger plaza, a larger square in the neighboring area so that the villagers have more spaces to do exercise. And actually, right now, the Juji Plaza is quite spacious. And for CCTV, we also want to contribute to the rural revitalization for Juji village. Actually, for this pagoda, it is named Revitalization Pagoda. It's a very lucky name. So for us, maybe we are not able to build the plaza, but we have invited a group of special guests to perform. So actually, we have invited very famous live streamer. So for this group of live streamers, they're actually coming from Wenzhou. They're also villagers. It is my first time to come to Juji village. I can feel the hospitality, and it just feels like I'm coming back home. So I'm from Xiangao village in Wenzhou. So I'm from Xiangao village. And this is my husband. I'm 50 years old. I'm Mr. Fan. So this is once again, the couple of Peng Xiaoying and they are very famous dance live streamers from Wenzhou. So when we are working on the field, when we are getting tired, we will play the music and do the dance. And a lot of people have been asking our questions. So you're doing a lot of dance on the field. Do you think it is you will lose your concentration doing the farm work? Well, actually, we consider the dancing as an entertainment. It will help us to relax. It will not affect our farm work. So each time when we show their dance videos, we will feel very happy. And each time when we are seeing their dance, we are feeling very happy. And this time, as you are coming to Juji village, please do a performance for us.
真好，谢谢谢谢！你看我们台下好多的父老乡亲都拿着手机在
Thank you
拍
very much
哈
for，
还有
that.
好多人跃跃欲试，
I
想
think
跟
many
着你们一
people
起跳
there，
可以跟你们一起跳
trying
啊！
to record your
再给我们
performance
带一段好不好？
through
来，我们
mobile
请我们
phone.
想上台跳舞
So
的
please lead the
村
dance.
里村民都上来好不好？
And
来
if any villagers want to dance together with Peng Xiaoying, please come to the stage.
那我和我的村庄第4站就到这里了，我们下一周黑
So
龙江
this is the end
双鸭山
from
再见。
our program, My Village and I. We will see you next week. See you next time.